Hey guys, Devin here with Admiral Off-Road, and today we're going to be trimming the fenders on the Jeep to fit some 35-inch tires. Let's get started. The first step is going to be to remove the stock fender flare, which is held in by a couple of clips and a self-tapping screw. With the stock fender flares off, now we can remove the brackets and the inner fender flare. Now that we've got the inner fender removed, we can get to the bolts that hold on our brackets. Now that we've got all the brackets and stuff removed, I'm going to tape, figure out where I want to do my cut, then we'll get cutting. On this side, on the driver's side, be careful that the washer bottle, the windshield washer bottle is right behind here. So I'm only going to cut just right up above this flare here. Any higher, and I think you probably have to remove and relocate your washer bottle. Alright, now it's time to start cutting. Now that we've made the cut, we can go back with the grinding wheel, clean this all up, and this is a fender support. You can decide to either take it off or kind of push it back up here. The fender's pretty solid without it, so I think I'm just going to take this off, but it's up to you. Once you've got the edges cleaned up, it's probably a good idea to take a file and dull all this down, because this is all going to be pretty sharp. That way you don't cut a tire, or somebody runs their hand in here, don't cut yourself. But this is going to be done for now. Let's go ahead and move on to the back. The rear fender flare, just like the front, is held in with a bunch of clips and a self-tapping screw up front. Both of my rear ones, the self-tapping screw has broken through on here, so I don't need to actually take it out. I can just pull it around it. But check, right up under here will be a self-tapping screw, as well as all your clips. Now we can unbolt and remove our fender brackets. Let's remove the clips and this inner fender lining. Just hold on with a couple of clips here. Last thing we're going to do before we start cutting into the back here is going to be to remove this rear bumper corner. This corner guard is held in with two bolts and a couple of clips. One bolt is here in the front, right by the wheel. The other one is attached to the back bumper. With the two bolts removed, now we can remove the rear corner piece, and it just slides straight back. Now, after we trim this, we can either trim the corner piece and put it back on, trim it right about there so it'll line up, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill out the bracket here, take the bracket off, and just leave this as bare metal. Just like the front, we're going to tape it off before we cut. This just gives me a line to cut to, as well as protect the paint around it. Now that we're all taped up, we can start cutting. Now, the way we cut the back is different than the front. Instead of just coming up and cutting this whole thing out, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but we have these little spot welds here. These need to be kept intact. So I'm going to cut little cuts all around here, being careful not to cut into the pinch welds. So just cut, 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 cut. And then I'm going to come back with a hammer and fold all of these in. So I want to make sure I cut very evenly up here, so that way it all folds nice and flat. When I get to the corners, I have to make a bunch of little cuts. So I can space them out pretty big on the flat parts, but when it comes to getting into these corners, I got to make a lot of very close together cuts. That way it'll all fold in smoothly. Now that we've got all the cuts made, we're going to start pounding them in. You can either use a rubber mallet, or I'm going to use just a small piece of wood and a hammer. All we're trying to do is take all these and bend them flat up into the body. You're probably going to have to rework this a couple times just to get it perfect, because you'll see a little bit of cracks and stuff, so you just have to hit it. After you're done with this, it's a really good idea to just spray a little bit of black, or whatever color paint you want, because the paint is going to chip when you start bending it over so far. So just know it's going to happen, and just paint it. Now that we've got it all pounded in, I'll go back a couple times with the hammer and the wood just to really clean it up and make everything nice and flat. After that, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of paint, just again because there's a lot of paint chipping off of there. I don't want to leave any bare metal to rust, and it'll just give it a nice, more finished look. For now though, let's go ahead and move to the back. We're going to take off this bracket just to finish off the rear half of the Jeep. The bumper corner is held on with this clip that is riveted to the body. I'm just going to use a drill to drill out the rivets, and we'll pull off the bracket. once you trim the fenders here, you're going to probably have to take down this little seam here. So I'm going to do that with a hammer now. And it is much easier to flatten this out with the tire off. Before we put the last 35 on, let's just take a look at the difference in size. This is pretty much a brand new 31. I got a flat, and this I put on like a couple thousand miles ago, and then this is the 35. There is just a massive difference. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today. Check it out, 35-inch tires on only 4.5 inches the lift. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below. And if you like what you saw here, please like and subscribe. If you want to see how to replace your U-joints, click over here. And if you want to see a Dana 30 teardown video, click over here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.